Her name, in a whisper, had no sooner escaped Hawkins' lips when he spotted her on the trail just a few 100 feet away. His heart started pounding. She wouldn't make it out of the blast zone on her own. And before he was aware of it, he was sprinting toward her. He was close now, close enough to reach out and grab her. That was when the ground shook and a flash of light robbed him of his sight. He heard the explosion a fraction of a second before he felt the shockwave that knocked him to his knees. With some effort, he rolled onto his back and looked behind him. His ears were ringing. The dust and debris stung his eyes. There was another explosion, and to his horror, he saw a ring of fire expanding from the camp. A wall of death, and it was coming for him. He rolled back onto his belly and tried to stand. He heard a quiet shriek. He looked up in time to see Angela on the ground, mere feet away. The approaching wall of fire was reflected in her terrified eyes. "Angela!" he cried out. She didn't respond. He stumbled at first, but managed to struggle to his feet. "Get your ass moving," he commanded himself as he ran to the spot where she lay. By the time he arrived, she was just getting to her hands and knees. He reached down and scooped her up into his arms without even breaking stride. His legs were throbbing. His heart was threatening to burst right out of his chest. "I can't do it," he thought. I can't outrun it, no way." To his right, he spotted a large rock with a depression of some kind just beyond it. He jumped in and immediately covered Angela with his body. The forest exploded around him. Most of the blast had dissipated, but what had reached them was enough to singe his clothing and burn just about everything around them. But he was still alive. "Angela?" He called out her name softly as he rose up. He couldn't even hear his own voice. Except for the ringing in his ears, the world had gone deathly quiet. He sat back on his haunches and watched as his delicate little Angela unfolded herself and looked up at him, still wide-eyed. He figured that he must have been quite a sight. He was still smoldering and covered with ashes. And although he could not yet feel his face, he knew he had to be grinning from ear to ear. He was happy to be alive.